Erin the Quitter here. Um, it's a Saturday, and so I'm not going to count it in the days. We've had, of course, day 5 was yesterday, and that was the end of my first week without a job. But the weekends have always been mine, and so I'm not going to count that as part of the number. So we'll get back to day 6 on Monday when that happens. And I actually wasn't planning on recording a video today, but I decided to do that because I'm sitting outside of my son's tutoring and waiting on him. And instead of running around trying to do errands and things like that, because now I have time during the week to do that, I thought I would use it as an opportunity to be quiet and reflect on myself and everything that's been going on and start working on that organization that I talked about. So I was trying to just get started on what I needed to do to get organized. And so I thought back to one of the things that I was pretty good at work. And that was I would always print out the calendar for the day. So on Outlook, you can just print the daily task. And when you print that off, usually, of course, you would have your meetings here because they fill in the blanks, with those meeting time frames. But then over here, you have a really nice blank space to keep track of your to-do list or as things come in. And then on the next day, you can transfer anything you didn't mark off. And that way you can keep up with what you didn't finish and what you need to then add to the list for today. So I said, maybe that's a good way to start getting organized. So I printed some blank calendars out of Outlook, and I even printed today's, even though it's Saturday, and I decided that that's how I would start a list. So actually, one of the first things I did today was start with ideas for my journal entries here on Erin the Quitter. And so I thought that if I could just make a list of everything that I have been working on, and things that I want to talk about in this journaling thing. God, the sun's getting bright. Then it would give me a good starting place on what to do. One of the other things that I found yesterday was my binder where I have business ideas. So for a very, very long time, something that I have always done, I invent things. Have I ever pursued one of my inventions? No, I haven't. I don't know why. I come up with some pretty cool ideas, and I was actually sitting here in the car flipping through some of my pages, and I mean, this notebook goes back years, and I've got like crinkly old paper in here with things that I've written down for ideas, and it was really cool to reminisce on when I had the idea, why I had the idea, and so I thought that was kind of motivating for myself. So one of the first things that I thought about doing for the organization of my week was making a couple of lists. I have taken some AI questionnaires, I guess, where you're supposed to basically do like personality tests and things, and it'll give you like a career direction and stuff. So I've done those things, and I actually learned quite a bit about myself on one of the apps. Of course, I'm not sponsored or anything, but Apt AI is the one that I've been using recently, and I was really impressed. It was kind of like reading an amazing horoscope, where you go, oh, that really is me. So that was pretty cool. So I've been using that, and of course I uploaded my resume in there, and it took all my personality tests, and it kind of grouped this nice little summary together about myself. And it was very positive, and I enjoyed reading it because I hadn't really thought of myself in the way that this program did. So anyways, so today I'm been working on a list of things that I'm good at. And that is a really hard thing to do, to make a list of all the things you're good at. Some of your strengths are pretty obvious and may even be more obvious to other people. I think we probably know more about our weaknesses than our strengths, which is probably why when they tell you how to interview and they say make sure you spin your weakness into a positive, because you might say, oh, I'm really bad at meeting deadlines or something like that. But you could then say, but I'm working on it, or I've been working on a process to do better at meeting deadlines and schedule my time better. Or you might say, I'm really bad at communicating. So I've been using AI to help me get my thoughts on paper or something like that. And those are all good things, but why can't we talk about our strengths better, right? And I'm really bad at that. I don't know if that makes me humble or if that makes me unaware of myself or what it really means, but I am not very good at understanding what I'm good at. And of course, I can list all of the normal stuff, right? I'm good at being a mom. I'm good at cooking. I think I'm good at being a wife. I don't know if my husband might say otherwise. But why can't I give myself more credit for everything that I'm good at? And why is it so hard to write a list of things that you're good at? I know I'm good at stuff. Why can't I give myself more credit? So that's what I started today, is writing a list. What am I good at? I am good at, and I wrote being friendly. And that's actually something that I get compliments on a lot. So that made me start like a side post, I guess, on my piece of paper. What do people say about me? So a lot of people do say that I'm good at being friendly and that I'm courteous and that I am creative and things like that, which I need to recognize that stuff about myself, because I think knowing things like that will help me decide what kind of career I will be good at or what I should focus on trying to do. The next one was cooking. And it's not just cooking dinner. It's cooking meals that my kids like, balancing what their tastes are with healthy, and preparing things from scratch and things like that. It's not just straight up cooking. It's really the thought process that goes into that, and channeling, my ancestors with the recipes of what my mama would have made when I was younger. Like, I don't have her macaroni and cheese recipe written down, but I can make it taste just like it. So mama will come into my body and make macaroni and cheese. Meal planning. So that's kind of similar to what I was just talking about, but I get down to where I write out my meals for the whole week, and then of course that helps me with planning for groceries and using up what's in my pantry, so shop the pantry, that kind of thing. Then I got into a little bit of some work topics. I'm really good at spreadsheets. I'm good at Excel. I'm good at data. I'm good at figuring out patterns and noticing issues in data and things like that. I have really good attention to detail. So that was related to the spreadsheets, but it also made me think about a time when I was dating. I was like 18 or 19 years old. And we went on a hike, and my boyfriend at the time, I pointed out this weird looking bug, and he said, you just notice things in your surroundings all the time that I would just walk past. And it's, it wasn't just that time. I'm always the one spotting little creatures and things like that that other people may just overlook. So, or remembering exactly where I saw something that a child has lost. So it's not just, it's in your room. It's in your room on the top shelf, to the left, behind, blah, blah, blah. So I do have the ability to hold on to and capture information just in my general surroundings, and I can recall it later. So I think that's a really good, what am I good at? I wrote down sleeping. I'm very good at sleeping. I can fall asleep just about anywhere. Asked my husband about the time I fell asleep at a bar, not because I was drinking, but because I was bored. Everybody else was drinking and I was the designated driver, and I fell asleep on their little couch. I can sleep anywhere. In the middle of a Super Bowl Sunday party, I fell asleep in the middle of all these men screaming and having a good time. Anyways, I'm good at, might not be excellent at it, but I am good at thinking of ideas. I have a whole book here of inventions that I've come up with that I've never pursued. So that would mean that I'm good at problem solving, right? I see a problem and I try to figure out a way to fix it. I tend to lead the group. So if we're in a group meeting and something comes up where we need to, design an idea of how to fix a problem, I'm the one taking the notes and asking the questions and pushing the group to keep going. So does that make me a good leader? The cleaning. I'm excellent at cleaning. So my house might not be spotless right now, but when I start cleaning a room, like we'll take the bathroom, I got the Q-tips out. So I take everything really serious, and I try to do an excellent job at everything I do, which goes back to why I was so devastated with this whole situation, because I put so much of myself into everything. So why couldn't they see that? And why did they say that I wasn't? It's just crazy. Anyways, I digress. Really good at laundry. So I don't just wash clothes. I sort clothes. I treat clothes. I put them away really nice and neat and things like that. So I actually kind of love doing laundry. My husband says, why do you separate everything? And I'm like, because I want it to be done well. I don't want to mess up the clothes. I want to make sure I'm using the right detergent on the right fabrics, and I don't know. Anyways, I think I'm a pretty decent driver, even though I'm a woman, and I know somebody might disagree with that. But again, that attention to detail, I can see things up ahead and kind of gauge what's going to happen based on what I've seen happen in the past and stuff. So a pretty defensive, maybe that's offensive driver. One of the other things I'm really good at is planning homework. So both of my sons come home with a sheet of paper over the weekend, and I sit down with a whiteboard and plan out every single day of the week on what the expectation is and what needs to be done. And that allows everybody to know exactly what to expect, right? So they know what to expect. I know what they're supposed to be doing, and it just makes everything move a little bit better. So that also translates into, I think, my planning of my day and checking off to-do list. So does that make me really good at organization? So I also wrote down of gardening, baking, things like that. I'm also pretty good at party planning. Going back before I got married, planning parties for like my husband's graduation. We weren't married at the time. When we did get married, I planned every aspect of the wedding. We didn't have a lot of money, so our budget was really small, and I wanted to feed everybody a full meal, an open bar, in a really nice place. And so I took my budget and I figured out how to do that for that budget. I think we went over by like $300 or something. It included our honeymoon. It included my dress. It included feeding everybody. And I did it for like $5,500, which of course, that was a long time ago. So, still pretty inexpensive for the time, because I knew people that were spending $10,000 at the time. So I did a really decent wedding for half the price of what my friends were spending. I know today I would not even want to begin to imagine what it costs to plan a wedding today, but I digress. The point of that is that I always get compliments about how fun my parties are and how memorable they are and all the different things. And it's funny, in this exact same notebook, I have a party planning section where when it is time to plan kids' birthdays and things like that, that's where it happens. So, again, this list was very hard to make, and I only have maybe 30 things here. Does that mean that I'm only good at 30 things? I don't think so. But what I am going to do is, now that I have this list started, anytime I think of something, I'm going to go write it down, because I think all of these things put together can lead to an epiphany of what that means for me. So what are you good at? How do you know if you're good at something? What are questions that you ask yourself to figure out what you are good at? I don't know. It's time to think about it. I quit.